Tonight on 8.5-bit, we pull ourselves together, get angry, and make some wise investments.
What?
It's Mr. Welcome, friends of all designs, to episode 256 of 8.5-bit. I'm your host, Paul, and joining me today is my good friend, James.
Hello.
Hello, James. And the games hinted at in the intro were, of course, the first one.
Yeah, yes.
The hot, very topical Knack 2.
Oh, disclaimer, this will be the Knack 2 podcast. And you not just this episode.
We are now
a Knack 2 fan cast.
Rage 2. And, of course, Shakedown, Hawaii. Okay, James, how are you going?
I'm going well. That's
very interesting. Oh, sorry, there was more.
Yeah, I've been cycling a lot more. So I am more tired, but kind of in a good way. Like in the legs are tired way, not in the exhaustion way. You know the difference?
Yeah, I like combining them.
No, I like one or the other.
But
I
like to be just dead tired and fall and pass out.
Been working on my games. It's been going well.
No, we need to stick on sport. I've started some sport.
What's your sport?
I've started playing squash.
The one that's bad for your knees.
Yeah. Everything's bad for your knees.
Not cycling.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, sure. How are you going with squash, buddy?
Well, so if you cycle the way I do, it's bad.
He's just stomping on the pedals. I'm going to make this as high impact as possible.
You definitely would stomp on those pedals. I bet if we measured you in any other cycles in the world, it's like, oh my god, his knees are just getting torn to...
There's no cartilage here. What are you doing?
Maybe that's what I should get you as a wedding present. Some cartilage for your knees.
That'd be great. Yeah,
because you will need it. The way that you stomp on the earth, afraid that it will escape you with every step.
What if I take off, Paul? I don't know if this whole gravity thing.
Off? Yeah, you're unsure. You must get as close to the ground as possible with each step.
How's squash working out?
It's fine. Yeah. I'm just going with a friend at the moment.
That's good.
Yeah, it's just a local place, and we played for like 40 minutes with absolutely nothing in any form of instruction. And we didn't know how to play squash.
I'm envisioning this is like just your interpretation of squash.
Yes.
So what rules did you make? Can you give me your version of squash before you learn what squash was?
Well, see, the thing is, you think this is an interesting conversation, but the thing is about squash, it's actually quite self-explanatory. So we actually did kind of work out where you could hit, where you couldn't hit, where you should stand to start things, and the general gist of the game. But then we were unsure, so we stepped out of the court, and I got my phone, and I Googled how to play squash.
Yes.
And we're like, we got it. We're right. We're right.
Hey.
And then the old owner of the club came and showed us how to actually hold our rackets, which really was the way we were holding it, but with a slightly different angle. And then, everything started working well. Yeah. It's fun. It's a fun game.
Yeah, I don't think it's for me. Because it seems like it's high intensity exercise.
Yeah,
and that's
which
the
is
one.
Not the thing that James is good at.
That's the one that makes me black out.
Yes.
So I don't like that.
But what if we just do it more so you stop blacking out?
I don't know, because I still have the blackouts even when fit, like when I have my fitness up.
Yeah, it never seemed attached to your fitness.
No,
it just seemed like if I said James frankly, sprint 10 meters,
I might black out at the end.
Well, you did at least once, and I was like, "Is this a joke?"
No,
because I'm the fat piece of shit, and
I had a blackout a few weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah, when I was because I hadn't cycled in a while. Like it is kind of tied to my fitness. Like it's not as bad if I have more fitness.
Yeah.
But I got to like a hill, and I still it
has to be a blood pressure thing or something.
Well, I had it all kind of checked out, and I should get checked out again. Like Dr. Cheryl was saying that like at this age probably shouldn't be getting them anymore.
Well, yeah, like. I have a history of pushing myself in different things like powerlifting and stuff like that, and I've had one brief blackout in my entire life, and that's with me treating my body very badly.
Yeah, no, if I sprint, I don't have seizures. Like I don't poop myself.
You have seizures?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah, no, they're not seizures. It is a feint.
I thought you said I have seizures.
No,
I'm like, what the fuck?
No, that'd be much worse.
James, so I need to get like an EpiPen or something around me just to carry some defibs just in case. Oh. Okay, here's the choice. You're dying, but someone comes at you with those electric paddles, and you do hate the idea of being electrocuted. Do you die or do you get shocked? I know it's a hard choice.
Are they felty?
Yes.
these felty paddles.
They pull them out of the felt bag and they chuck them on your legs. Here come the electric paddles. It doesn't seem to be working. Here, we'll just buzz lightly and move them all over his body, especially the nipples. Get the nipples. That's the quickest way to hard health.
It's not worth it. The felty electricity. Yeah.
Okay, you want to know what's not happening on your Bucks night?
What?
I'm not getting a tall, large-breasted stripper to dance to Zoot Suit Riot while touching you with felt gloves. But it was considered.
Yes. Like, I wouldn't be disappointed if it happened. See, I think I'd be disappointed if it was a straight-up, like, stripper. I'd be like, there's no imagination here. But as soon as you pulled out the felt gloves...
The Mickey Mouse or Mall Santa felt gloves. Those are the real ones. Zoot Suit Riot! Riot! That felty glove going across your beard there. Oh... Peel off my felt panties.
I'm just imagining it now. No, because felt on the teeth is the worst one. I don't want felt on my teeth.
I didn't say with your teeth, son. You took that an extra level.
I did.
But it was implied. Anyway, back to this family show about video games. Oh, good. We can hear Dusty's antler get dragged across the ground outside the door. That's always a good sound. That's all right.
Had Cal's jumped in now as well. Hey, Cal.
Hello, Callum.
Sounds like coming through the phone mic. Well, it should be coming through the...
Don't talk about technology that doesn't affect anyone that's not listening live.
No, he's
well, you could adjust it. You could plug in and out.
Oh, let's give it a go. All right. Let's see if that does anything.
James Ewell.
Hey, Cal. Anyway, video games.
Video games. Okay,
you said it's better, so that's good.
Good. You did good, James.
Good job.
You're a good James. Made with full Jamesy goodness. Okay, what are we excited to talk about? The stuff. Did you know on the 14th it was the 11th anniversary of Leroy Jenkins?
Only 11th?
Yeah.
I actually thought it'd be longer.
It's crazy just how fast internet culture moves. Those quaint days of just screaming Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah. And badgers and snakes and mushrooms.
Yeah, I don't know how long. Badger. But Mario Twins, I still play that pretty regularly at work. They go, what are you talking about, Dad? Let me play Mario Twins for you. Shiggity schwa.
Yeah, it does move very fast.
It does.
Very fast.
Okay, just because... No. Oh, God. So much Epic Game Store fun to talk about. I love talking about the Epic Game Store because I am critical of it, but also everyone's crazy. Well, not everyone, but, the loud people. Let's talk about some games, though. Shall I talk about the big game of the week since one of us actually played it for once, which is very rare for us? How's Days Gone going?
Gone.
It's selling very well.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
It reviewed good, and it's selling very well.
Okay.
It kicked God of War's ass in Japan. They don't care about God of War.
Okay.
They do like zombies at the moment, so... I have been playing Rage 2, but I haven't been playing very much of it, so this will be very broad.
Kind of impressions, initial impressions. Yes.
Very initial impressions playing on PC. I have a 970 as my video card, and I am normally fine with that.
He's talking. He's going to try something.
Oh, he's just trying to think.
You keep talking.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm listening. Don't worry. I can do two things.
I don't doubt it. You can both suck and blow at the same time. Anyway,
get this thing off.
Not good looking. There's something about it that on my video card, it's finally got to the point where I'm like, this new game don't look no good no more.
You've crossed the threshold?
I've crossed that threshold, but I mean, there's still every other game I play looks good. And I think part of the problem is it does the very smart thing of dynamic resolution.
Okay. Is it distracting when it does it?
Well, I think it's always running at a lower resolution.
Yeah.
So it means it keeps it at a constant 60, which is good.
Yeah.
But there's something about it that seems a bit murky and muddy and doesn't work for me. That said, then someone said, why don't you overclock your video card? And I did. And I pushed it up like 15%, like from cranked in. Yeah, it made a noticeable difference. It was actually quite good. And at this point, I'm like, well, the video card's lasted this long.
You just push it a bit and if it fries, then yeah. It doesn't, because I think there is performance degradation over time anyway, isn't there?
I'm not sure.
I think there is.
I'm not the hardware.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a hardware person. But
yeah, okay. Yeah. So first up it brings you up to speed with the story. I'm like, the story? And it says,
because there was a story in the first one.
It says, yes, because of this person who was apparently the character from Rage, which I definitely remember everything about them. Something happened and the horrible mutant people went underground, and now they're coming back, and there's an evil general who's just a head on the top of a robot body.
Okay.
Honestly, the mutants are more like Strogg this time. From what I remember.
Yeah,
they might have got Stroggy in the first one, but I really can't remember them. Anyway, he keeps talking about just how evil they are, and they're great to be back, and they're here to stop the stupid humans that are like repopulating, and that's not the plan for the future of the planet. And
so it
went on, it was probably reached 30 seconds by that point. I'm like, where is the skip button? Where is it for a good old ball?
It sounded like KK&D to me.
Yeah, but not that. Well, actually, I don't know how fun KK&D would be these days, but it really is. I don't care. I don't care about this. It starts you in a facility and you're just like a soldier. I was playing a lady, which kind of worked out well because all the main characters in the facility were women. So it's like, other than the fact there's a couple of guys standing over there, I could pretend that this was a women-only society, which is kind of fun. Very sort of dry intro of just like, yes, we are going to explain the basics of how to play a first-person shooter, but also this world, which I still don't care about. At the end of it, because it's sort of like there's a siege on your base, and you're fighting them off, and then afterwards you've got a power suit. So now you're going to get powered up in the game, and the boss gets killed, and you go into a special room, and they're like, oh, I always planned if something went wrong, you would get all the power. We were keeping the powers from you just in case something went wrong. Like, oh, that's a coincidence. Lucky I found this fucking suit. And anyway, the whole thing, they're talking in this hologram. I'm like, okay, great. They're talking. I can at least run around this room and get the other thing I need to do. Okay, great. And then I'm like, okay, now let me out the door. And they kept talking. And let me out the door. And I literally just kept jumping at the door. You know how you do when you're playing games? So crouch, jump, jump, push through the door. Well, let me through.
Yeah.
Let me through the door.
This is an open world game that you want to go into the open world and do open world things in.
Especially, you're thinking id's last game was Doom, and they just did the whole, like, let me explain this to you, and he just punches the screen and you move out.
Yes, yeah.
Now, they do turn back on that later in Doom and do have a few locked in a room listening to a monologue. But I just didn't care. I wanted to get out and do stuff. And so far, I have done none of the story. I just got my car and started driving out and trying to make my own fun. And
how is it for that?
I'm having fun with it. At the moment, I've just done a couple of... there's the bases, they're set up, and you go there, and it says, okay, to liberate this base, kill everybody. I'm like, okay. And they'll also list the number of collectibles in the area, so how many of different types of chests there are. So I'm like, I've got a checklist. Fantastic. That works for me. It's very straightforward first-person shooter. You can sort of just run around and shoot people fast.
How's the gunplay feel?
I think it feels very good. I started listening to some other people's opinions of it, and one of the things people were saying is that it's very easy. And I haven't died, and it is pretty easy. But I also wasn't caring about that. This game isn't Doom. This game isn't like, here's a tightly scripted scenario and you're supposed to, you get your combos up and you like use this weapon against this person and that. This is more just like, grab what you can, shoot them with it, and just shoot them in the face and keep shooting people in the face until there's no more people. I'm kind of happy with that in here. I enjoy just like running around the environments. My favorite one is just a roadblock. So you're liberating all sorts of things in the world. So, it's probably going to be limited to like 8 things. But at the moment, that's more than I've played. So it feels like lots of things. In this roadblock, I pulled the car up. They started shooting at me. I ran towards it. I slid under the gate. I just start running towards people, shooting them. If they're wearing armor, you just knock all the armor off with the gun first and then dead. It's normally one-shot head, because I'm just fighting people at the moment, so it's one headshot dead, which means if you take your time, you can just one-shot everybody. But you're not supposed to. You're supposed to run through, and sometimes you get it, and sometimes you just shoot them in the upper shoulders, and that still kills them pretty good too. Run upstairs, take out a few people, jump across a thing, rip out, just smash someone in the face, they fall down. At that point, there's an overdrive mechanic, so once you've got a certain combo level, you can hit that and then you get superpowered for a second. People down the bottom level have now come out, so I hit that as I jump down a zip line to zip down to them. I just shoot them all in the face in a couple of seconds, and at that point they add more gore to it, so I'm point blank going and there's just shit flying everywhere, and then it's like, roadblock liberated. I'm like, hooray! I did it. That was a fun 30 seconds. Yeah. And I don't think any of the games are ever going to get particularly more complicated than that, from what I've heard and what I've played. But that's what I'm going for in this game, and it may not have legs to last a long time.
Well, because I've heard the campaign itself is quite short if you do just want to mainline it. Well, by quite short, I mean like 11, 12 hours.
Yeah. As I say, I've only played for a couple of hours, so I can't speak to the length. And I do think the game is not super polished. I would say like it's good, but could have taken some more work. Also, I have quite a few issues with the AI. Quite regularly, I'll just sort of like run past a guard and they'll just not... They haven't recognized that I'm now standing behind them, and they're just sort of standing there. Like I literally shot you a second ago, and I'm now on the other side.
Yeah.
But normally I'm shooting them so fast when they do.
Yeah.
I've had like 3 hit that stage, and I'm like, it's forgivable, but it's also like if it didn't happen, it would sell the environment better. So blah 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 with that.
I kind of expected it to be a bit more polished than that.
Well, the thing is, it is primarily an Avalanche game, and whilst they basically took notes from id for the gunplay, but from all reports that I heard, it was still Avalanche doing most of that work.
Okay.
So the gunplay feels good, but yeah, the overall thing is just a little bit... Could have cooked a little bit longer, but Avalanche is... I think they've been pushing out so many projects fast, and I don't get it. Like, they did that Generation Zero, or whatever it was called, which was just a huge flop. The last Just Cause sort of came out of nowhere and made no splash, and no one cared. It's just like...
I don't know if we need more Just Cause games.
Exactly, unless you come in with a new take. I mean, it sounded like they improved the engine from 3, but I don't know, because I don't know anyone that played it, because it was the same as 3, but with tornadoes. Feels like I could have modded them in.
If they can mod in multiplayer, they can probably mod in tornadoes.
Well, they can't mod in multiplayer.
Do you think that it would scratch my Far Cry itch?
The only thing that I wonder is that I know your Far Cry itch involves a bit of sniping as well, and I don't know how interesting sniping would be.
It doesn't have to, though.
It wants you to be up close. It's taking a little bit of that Doom DNA. It rewards you for being close and aggressive. They drop these shards that sort of power you up and everything as you go, and you get a bit of health and ammo by doing that. But even like the small outpost that I was doing, not that one, the slightly bigger one, it still had a story to it. It had a few entrances that you start at, sort of clean out the most run, but then you were making your way up to the top, and up the top there were some tougher enemies and some bigger loot and everything. So basically it had a encounter arc to it, like the curve. It's like, okay, it's going to get harder, and then you get a better reward at the end. And if you want, you can run away halfway through, but you won't get all the rewards. I'm enjoying it. It's like... There's also a bit of jank in the cutscenes. They're just like, everything just seems like a bit 10 years ago. But I kind of then just skip them. I don't care. I like driving around. I like jumping out. I like shooting stuff. And it feels okay for the shooting stuff.
Because I am interested.
Yeah.
Because when I think of like what I like in like Far Cry, like because I like an open world shooter where the shooting feels satisfying. I like liberating things. I like moving through an environment and kind of unlocking more stuff. And it sounds like that's the kind of game it is, but with really good gunplay. Yeah. I think it's not the best gun. Like, it's not Doom, but like I like the gunplay better than something like Far Cry. Yeah, that's all really I have thought-wise with it at the moment. I am enjoying it, but I really can just... I wish they'd polished the main bit a little bit, and they could have just forgotten about some of the trappings. I don't care about this story. It's really stupid. It's oh no, here's the one thing that happened that I just like... I realize it doesn't happen often in games, so I just really like it. So I opened up that roadblock. Yep. And
I'm there just like looking around to see if I missed something to collect. Suddenly 3 cars are racing towards it. I'm like, oh shit, go get out of the way. I jumped off the road and I got in firing position. And they zoom through the roadblock, and all the bodies are on the ground. They just sort of kick them up in the air, and they like throw them at ragdoll, and they just kept going. And like, it's not often in games that cars pass me, not caring who I am, and also at full speed. Because normally they're pulling up to attack you. That's the normal thing.
I think like say Far Cry 5, I'd kind of expect if someone drives past you, they're going to start shooting at you for the most part.
Yeah, like if they are like aggressive.
Yeah.
But I mean, like there's still like traffic, but it's also not that fast in that game. So it's just
how's the vehicular combat?
I haven't done any combat yet. My main thing has a gun on it, but I haven't done any. I've just been driving around. From all reports, it's really minor and unsatisfying and not as good as Mad Max. But I haven't played it, so I can't say.
So given this is an Avalanche game, do we expect someone will mod in multiplayer at some point?
I mean, it is their engine, so it could be done, I guess, but I don't think it's built for it. And I know some of the abilities end up having sort of like time slowdown and stuff.
And that doesn't work so well.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it can't be done, but it'll be a lot of effort for a game that I don't think is going to make that big of a splash. It'll be okay. Okay, shall we move on?
Sure.
Shall we? Now, let's leave Knack for now. Let's keep the audience waiting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about PlayStation's State of Play. So, PlayStation did their Nintendo Direct last week.
Yes.
Which I don't think I mentioned on the show. I couldn't remember what it was called, and I didn't remember when it was starting. So I just Googled, when is PlayStation's next Direct, knowing that there'd be something there. And the first headline was, PlayStation's next Nintendo Direct. I was like, holy shit, they've really taken this concept and got ownership of it. So they showed off a few things. So what was it? So first up, they showed off Monster Hunter World Iceborne, the DLC that's coming out. It's more Monster Hunter. It looks really nice.
All the snow effects look... Yeah, I guess like it's going to introduce new ways to track because you've got the snow that can deform. Yeah. So it looks good.
Could be cool. I mean, I never went through all the content of the original game, so I doubt I'll get any real mileage out of it.
I expect I'll watch Cheryl play.
Cheryl play it. Yeah.
She will play a lot of it.
The real gamer. Sigh. So I found this whole thing a little bit weird because it's not a good lineup of announcements, and they've got one big thing in there, but it's also not like a coming soon thing. So we'll just jump to that because it was like the big news out of it, which they showed off some more Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh, and I had said to me like, oh, we finally got to see gameplay. Well, actually, we've already seen pretty much all this gameplay. The original trailer that came out showed all these areas, and in fact, there's some really good comparison video showing the update. Now they've done a lot of work. It looks vastly like improved, and a lot of things have changed. But also, it's essentially the same thing, which is this real-time action remake with really high fidelity characters, and it's only. I mean, it feels like the only stuff they've shown is all stuff off the first disc of the game.
Because it's going to be 3 iterations, or 3 parts, isn't it?
3 parts, yeah. And because they confirmed it's still episodic, and I feel nothing makes me want to throttle the internet more than people that don't understand the base concept of something. So a lot of the talk on a lot of sites is just like, oh, episodic doesn't work, oh, fuck, oh, I'm not going to pay that. And then people coming and saying like, oh man, it's going to be like $30 and you'll get all the parts for that. It's like, no! Just read what they're saying. They're taking the story and they're making 3 games, and they're each a full game, and they'll charge you full price for each of them. At the end of it, they're not going to have a $20 pack that has all of the episodes in it. That will come, but it will release at full price, and then it will come down. So we're looking, by the time you get that pack, I'm going to guess 12 years. It's like each of these games is probably going to be 2 to 4 years apart, and if we're lucky,
they're big games. Like Final Fantasy VII is a big game.
Yeah,
it took a long time to make. Back 15 years ago,
and you got to like the backgrounds,
and the fidelity was so less fidelity to make that game.
The 2D backgrounds are designed for the SNES. So it was so they still have some work from the SNES version that then became the 3D PlayStation version and everything. So it took a long time to develop, and they didn't have to do fucking 1/10 of the work that they have to do now.
They could just render a static background, put a low poly model on it, and they were done.
Bob's your uncle. and they want to extend it and everything, which will only really help that sort of story. I mean, like, it might be a shit game, don't get me wrong. I can't vouch for that. But I mean, I don't, they're trying to rip us off, give us less game for us. Like, no, they're not. They're saying if we have to invest 18 months of someone's life to make an environment, maybe there should be more gameplay in it than running through it once. Because it only took someone a week back in the day to make that background, and it didn't matter that they ran through it once. Now it's a lot more investment. So we want to spend more time there, do more things and everything, not just have all these throwaway assets. So if we break it into these parts of the story, we can delve in a little deeper, not just spend $6 million on nothing. I saw a really good video about God of War, about like the moment of God of War when you're heading back to your house. I won't say any more about it than that, but the person talking about it was saying how it's supposed to be epic, and they wanted all these animals coming out, and then the animals being attacked by monsters and everything as you're going on this trip back. You're on a boat, and he said, like, oh, so you see this one deer come up, and after we did the one deer, everyone just came back and said, that was so fucking expensive, doing that one deer. We cannot do more deer. Yeah. That deer alone fucking ate the entire budget for this sequence. Like, yes, because that's the reality of doing high-fidelity work. Yes. That's why so many walking simulators have no animation in them.
And it's kind of like genius from their part to split this thing over, like, let's just say 10 years, whatever it ends up being, because people they've been gagging for this for a very long time, and now they can really stretch it out. They get to sell.
Do you think there'll be a way to save Ares? Sorry, spoilers.
Someone might fan mod it in. I don't know.
It's one of the things I just love and hate in RPGs, that the story takes precedent over everything else. It's like, you literally have people dying constantly. You have Phoenix Downs. You have dedicated healers in your party. You have so much ability to cure fucking anything. And it's like, oh no, Timmy's sick. He's coughing. It's like, oh, well, maybe one of these 700 ultra potions that I've never used.
Cast Curagra.
I was thinking, it's like, I'm paralyzed to use any consumables in an RPG, so I have so many of everything by the end. It's like, you can live forever, Timmy.
I like it when they clamp the number that you can carry, so it's like you can only have 10, so I'm wasting them if I don't spend it.
Yeah.
Because nothing's worse when you go to pick something up and it just says, like, inventory full. It's like, I've got to leave it now.
Bastards. You bastards. You know what potions need in an RPG? Expiry dates.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is an awesome potion. Oh no, it goes bad tomorrow. Actually, I bet that could be good. Because I'm playing through. I'll talk about it later, but Steamworld Quest at the moment.
Oh yeah.
And there are consumables. I've not used a single one of them. When I was supposed to in the tutorial, I'm like, no, I don't need it.
Just keep it.
I don't need a consumable. There's magic in this game. I don't need consumables. I'll just wait for the right cards. So anyway,
Sam's he made the he said it's like, looks like Crisis Core style gameplay, which I never played.
Yeah, it's a little bit like and it's a little bit like Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah,
it's like, but I kind of heard better than that because I found that very sloppy. That's all right. What was I gooing? That's right. So that was their big thing. So it was an update on that project.
Yeah, with
no written details or explained details, no release date. The thing is, I bet the first episode probably does ship on the PS4. I bet episode 2 and 3 do not. And I also wouldn't be surprised if the first episode comes out after the PS5 is out.
Yeah, I wouldn't surprise me either.
Cross-generation release.
Yeah.
So that was their big thing. Like, you did this thing getting ahead of E3 to show stuff off, and
but there wasn't really much there. I mean, they are in this kind of weird place now with the upcoming console. It's like, well, is it going to be all like? I assume that Death Stranding is going to be like a PS5 launch title at this point. I would assume so
as well.
So it's like, well, that's kind of like their big thing. Can't really show that yet.
Ghost of Tsushima. I also wasn't sure if that really was going to be this generation or next. I still assume this generation release, but it may not be like the primary way to really play it. So here's the other things they showed off. Predator Hunting Grounds. It's a Predator game, and they had a cinematic to show it off. It's coming next year, so not even this year. Okay.
Did they say anything about what it is?
No. They had a game called Away, the survival series. And it says series in the title, but they only showed you playing like a sugar glider. So you play a little animal, and you're going through the world, and you're avoiding predators, and it looked kind of cute. It also looked like they had one like it's not crawling animation cycle that just kept repeating every half a second. I'm like, this game needs a little bit of fucking work before you show it off, because that looks infuriating to me. It looks very low budget. I mean, it could be fun, but it certainly looks like a low budget title. Calm down, Paul. Don't need to judge the low budget title. It looks like an awesome low budget title. I'm going to keep saying that because it looks like a low budget title. And that's fine. But it's just like, this is like your little showcase at the moment. You were supposed to be getting excited. But I actually am interested in that game. It just is a bit janky. Then they showed off MediEvil, the remake.
How's that looking?
I think it looks janky as fuck. I think it's one of those remakes where the base game is running behind it, and the base game is not a brilliant game.
Oh, did they have like can you swap? Did they do that thing?
I don't believe that, but it had things like, I always find it weird the clips they pull out. Like they had the main character who's, what's his name, Sir something? Arthur? I don't know. Anyway, he's MediEvil.
I didn't even know that many people cared about MediEvil.
Well, see, they need more things to remake, and at least it's like a little bit
I remember
recognizable.
MediEvil.
Yeah. And like I know one of them was all these enemies sort of swarming at him, and their models had reached him, but the run animation was still going, even though they were all pushing into the player character. And I'm just like, they're not actually running towards anything at this point. And whilst that's fine, like especially like a brawler thing and an older thing, like why you would put that clip in a trailer and there's like some really low frame rate parts. It's like, this is a remake of a PS2?
One.
You did have a PS1? Oh, shit. Anyway, like it doesn't look awful or anything, but it wasn't a great showing. And yeah, it still doesn't show off why I should really care about MediEvil other than nostalgia, and I don't think it's a huge nostalgia hit. Okay, so they showed that. They showed... And the only other thing they showed, and I left it because it was, I thought, a pretty good-looking game. It's just not groundbreaking. It was a game called Riverbond, and it is a co-op dungeon crawlery adventure with a 3D dot pixel style aesthetic. So, a bit Minecrafty and that. It just looked really solid. It had a whole bunch of like indie crossover characters in it. So I think it had like maybe like Hyperlight Drifter and Guacamelee and some stuff like... And I know it definitely had Enter the Gungeon, the bullet from that. It looked really solid. And it's certainly the sort of thing I might go, hey, we got some people coming over, let's fly this one up. In fact, last weekend we played through a bunch of like weird co-op dungeon games I had, and only one of them was good. So this would probably be on the good pile. But also just like, I bet I'm the most excited person about that game. Everyone else just went to Final Fantasy and forgot about that one. But that was a Riverbound.
Okay. Yeah, it's just very...
It's just weird. Like, what's the strategy at the moment?
The strategy is hold over until PS5.
Well, that's exactly... But that's what I don't understand. The like, hey, remember us, and then showing sort of a poor showing.
Or maybe this gets them... Like, they knew it's going to be a bit average. This way they control the average. Rather than they get to E3 and people are like, Sony lost E3.
Well, I mean, they definitely lost E3 because they're not there.
They just forfeited.
Yeah.
And just owned it themselves.
Yeah. Well, no, I was going to say Microsoft wins by default, but that's not... But I suppose they're the only one that participates in E3. Nintendo does its own thing at E3. So,
which is still kind of participating.
Yeah, I'm just being pedantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the old style, like, we'll have conferences and do a thing. The only platform holder doing that is still Microsoft. And then I guess I can put in some other news here. So they're having the PC Gaming Show again this year. Sponsored by Epic Games Store. Which is absolutely fine. And I assume there'll be lots of Epic Games Store exclusives. But boy howdy, those internet comments are going to be poison.
Yeah.
Those fuckers, they're releasing games on a store that I don't like. And that's not saying that the game store doesn't have problems. And I certainly have a problem with, say, this week.
I have problems with their strategies to build their audience.
Yes, so Outer Wilds has been announced as Epic Games Store exclusive on PC. Now, I haven't quite been able to confirm whether or not that does still include the Microsoft Store. Because Microsoft is
because they own InXL, don't they?
No, you're thinking about Outer Worlds.
Oh, fuck those two games.
You fucking idiot.
What? I always get those two things confused. Yes.
So Outer Worlds is also an Epic Games Store exclusive.
Yeah, that's why.
And it is not coming to Microsoft Store. But Microsoft gave away copies of this like last year. And there was like, it's a bit confusing. It's definitely coming to Xbox still, but I don't know about PC with that. But anyway, it's not coming to Steam. So the reason why this is still falls under the slightly scummy line is that Outer Wilds, now I was doing it, god damn it, was crowdfunded on Fig with promises of Steam keys, including at launch a Mac and a Linux version. And I believe Epic Games Store may now support Mac. It didn't originally. Right now, it does not support Linux. So the three people that backed it for that...
Very disappointed.
Very disappointed. And like, whilst I make fun of that, it is a low number. That's still a promise that was made to get backers.
Like I still... This whole like grabbing titles mid-development and that where people have invested or paid money and shifting things is...
It's very shaky ground. And I think there would be a way to make those deals whilst not needing to make an artificial monopoly on it. It's like
how about you just don't make those ones exclusives? Like there's plenty of other games you can grab to make exclusive.
Put it on there. Like maybe there's it still make people angry, but maybe there's a special DLC you can get on there. But also the main one, the big claim is that that there's a bigger cut for developers on Epic Games Store. Not even cut the price. Make the price more expensive on Steam. So it's like, well, we made it more expensive so we get the same cut. So you can either buy it on Epic Games Store for cheaper, or you can pay more for it over on Steam. And that's like, you're actually making an argument about the business at the same time. It's still available to people that want to do things.
That bigger cut thing is an interesting one. But when it comes to it's Steam rolls in transaction fees for
this is where it gets much
because it's actually kind of fucking over develop country the Russians and the
consumers that aren't American.
Yes,
your mileage varies greatly on Epic Games Store because you will have to fit the cost of certain money transactions, and also then they have regional pricing on there as well, which Steam still has. But, generally most games will cost more for me to buy on Epic Games Store than if I were to buy them from another source. But they're going to have their first sale soon, which is already fucked people off.
But there's nothing but pre-orders on there anyway.
Yeah, but imagine if you put on two-factor authentication, you get $10 credit to spend at that sale, and I think it's just $10 credit full stop.
Okay.
Except unless you made your account using like a Facebook sign-in or a Nintendo ID or a Steam ID or a PSN ID or a Xbox ID, then that doesn't work. And if you already turned on two-factor before this thing came available, whatever,
you don't get it.
Like, guys, just fucking give it to everyone. just give. You haven't done it yet, so just forget all those things. Just every account, put $10 on it, and forget it. Just no.
How many sign-ups did that get? Rather than this going in and we're gonna just snap up these games and then kind of just piss off consumers, they just went, "Hey, everybody, $10 off your first purchase."
Yeah,
that was
pretty good.
I imagine that they get a few installs.
I will probably. Weirdly, I don't think I crowdfunded out of Wilds, even though it's one of my most anticipated games. So I'll probably just buy it on Epic Games Store, and that's fine. I still think it's a bit shitty. But I do want to play it, and as a whole, it's not like there's a problem particularly with the store. And having more stores isn't a problem. I downloaded Rage 2. I had to install Bethesda's game store. Okay, that's 2 minutes of my life.
I had a problem with the Epic Store when I was trying to gift someone a copy of Anno 1800 because it does not support gifting.
Yes, it has a lot of. It's starting to add things now. You can have codes these days, and you can buy Epic Games Store games through Humble Bundle. And for instance, I've only now started getting from publishers offering Epic Games Store codes, where before it just sort of wasn't anything being offered out. Yeah. We don't know this one. It's not set up for it.
They're kind of catching up. They're getting there.
Yeah, and I think whilst some catch up is understandable, I think they had plenty of warning. There's plenty of art and prior art to look at and say, oh, how do you do a store?
Yeah. Look, if they can crunch their Fortnite team, they can crunch their store team.
And they shouldn't crunch their store team.
No, they should do neither of those two things.
They
should not be.
Yes. They should staff up and say, if we want to be a big player, we need the support to support being a big player. Anyway, is that the end of my Epic Game? No, I got one more thing that ties into Epic Game Store. But it's just a new game announcement. But it happens to be exclusive on Epic Game Store.
Because what isn't these days?
But also, it's on Uplay because it's an Ubisoft game, which is the new Ghost Recon.
Oh, yeah.
So, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And it is a follow-up to Wildlands. And basically, it's Wildlands, but they decided to stop potentially stepping on political toes.
It's not Bolivia anymore.
It's not Bolivia.
It's imaginary made-up island where they can do whatever they want.
We call it Old Zealand. It's got a lot of the biomes that New Zealand has, but it has no geographical or political ties to New Zealand. But man, wouldn't it be fucking awesome if it was New Zealand?
It would be.
And they wouldn't complain. I mean, actually, with recent things happening, it might be a little bit touchy to actually have it be New Zealand at this point. But other than that, remove us 2 more years, And it's fine again.
Yeah.
And if someone wanted to do a Ghost Recon in Australia and literally put it in Brisbane, oh my lord,
that would be fantastic.
It's like, oh, look, they're all drug takers. Like, yeah, why not? Yeah, let's do it. We understand fiction. It's fine. You know when The Simpsons came and they went to our Parliament House and they actually used the Austrian Parliament House instead of the Australian Parliament House? You know what? That's not offensive. That's a really funny fuck up, and I love it. Our Prime Minister just floats in a fucking pond.
I think it does say a lot about kind of Australian deprecating humour that no one disliked the Australian Simpsons episode.
It's the best episode. Yeah. We should bring the boot in. We got an election on the weekend. Anyway, so New Zealand Ghost Recon.
Which I'm looking forward to, because like the last Ghost Recon was good. Like I felt it just needed a little bit more like to do as a team.
It's a little bit better, but a little bit better in maybe the wrong way for us. In that Ghost Recon Wildlands was a stupid game. That was stupid in like you could just get a motorcycle and drive up a cliff.
Yes.
And whilst it like nothing real, like physics was fucking terrible. Now, so what they did, they said, okay, let's take the base of Ghost Recon Wildlands. Now we'll add new technology, and I call this technology scrambles. Scrambles. So now, when you were moving up or down mountainsides and across the landscape, you actually treat it as if it was at super extreme angles and such. So you will slide down, you will scramble up a mountain, you will push yourself behind a tree.
But I can't ride a motorcycle up a
well, they didn't show the motorcycle.
Solid cliff face anymore.
That might still be fucked up. It might still be like the easy version of Trials. But just trying to get that movement more interesting in the landscape, which I think makes the game more interesting. Because I think the big failing was that the land, other than sight lines, the geography didn't actually matter much in the game because it was pretty ineffective. So that's cool, but it does make it more realistic and a little bit slower.
But they've also added some kind of survival elements, kind of.
A little bit.
Like there's things like you have like persistent injuries, so you have to actually...
Yeah, you can get like a broken leg.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't mind. Like if it's going to be something with is like a semi-permanence for like a more interesting story, like it could be alright.
Yeah. I think that's the thing.
And then you get back to a camp and you can make it go away. But like it's like I've shot in the arm and I can't shoot as well or something like that.
These systems can be, if badly done, annoying, but if done properly, they create stories, and that's and so far I had a lot of fun with Wildlands as well, so I think they could probably do it in a good way. The only difference is if you're playing single player now, you do not get co-op buddies. Instead, you get a bunch of drones.
Okay.
Okay, drones.
Yeah.
Go up there. We're gonna do a what do they call the shots? The something shots.
Sync shots.
Sync shots. We're going to do the sync shots, but it's the drones doing it.
Yeah,
with you.
I don't mind that so much.
I think it's fine.
Because they are going for more of this kind of like survival things. Like I think you crash land in the island. I think something like that. It kind of works.
Anyway, that's coming out later this year. Okay.
I like Ubisoft. Ubisoft has become one of my favorite companies.
Yeah, I think Ubisoft is great. Even though they're not all for me, I tend to be interested in them. And we'll see how they do with Beyond Good and Evil 2 if they become my greatest enemy.
It will be out. Eventually that game will come out.
It will come out one day, probably. I
don't know. It must be in a bad state.
Why bad state?
Well, just because it's been in development so long.
No, it hasn't. Do you not remember how long it's been in development? You remember how they announced it at E3?
Oh, no, you're right.
That was the start of development.
Yeah, was it in pre-production for a long time, right?
Well, it was in several pre-productions, so they're all cancelled.
Yeah.
So that game has never been in production. It was, hey, we did this like viz of like what we want it to be, and then like, should we pick it up? Nah, we shouldn't have released that trailer. Yeah, well, we did.
It's probably like having this hold off long enough for Ubisoft to turn into a reputable company. I kind of feel like now Ubisoft is more likely to do that game justice than they were, say, like 10 years ago.
Look, I don't think Beyond Good and Evil 2 is going to scratch my Beyond Good and Evil itch, but I think it's going to be a fucking weird, interesting game. And that's good on its own. Let's say we got good talent behind it. They've got some financial backing. They're swinging wild. I like a wild swing. It's good. Okay, we only have a few other things in the news, so we may as well cover them up. We have... Now, tomorrow, as in 3 days ago...
Yes.
John Wick 3 comes out, and you still haven't watched the first two, have you?
I've watched the first one.
Oh, we're finally getting there.
I've watched about the first third of the second one.
You monster.
I don't know why those movies don't really do much for me. They're fine. They're fine.
It's trusted to come from a jungler.
Yes, what's a jungler, Paul?
A jungler is someone that enjoyed Jumanji 2, Welcome to the Jungle.
I enjoyed that movie.
And you
I
don't
liked the jokes.
enjoy John Wick.
I enjoy it. I think I don't like the tone of it. I think
Tone is the best part.
But I think it's just like
it's so silly.
I know it's silly, but it plays it so straight.
That's what's so good about it.
And I just don't
It's
really...
a matter of life and death. The Continental is basically heaven and hell combined. It's purgatory, run by gods of assassins, and we can't joke about it. It's very serious.
Yeah, it's just... I don't really... It's fine.
So there's a John Wick game coming out. And I was very, very surprised.
Yep.
It starts up and it's got a... Let's call it a Neo Interstate 76 cutscene look.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, that? And okay, like this kind of has a style that reminds me of something. I'm not sure what it is. And it's John Wick moving around, and the animation's a bit stiff, and it's a turn-based game. It's a tactical turn-based game.
Okay, yep.
You have to plan out John's moves, and that is quite close to the what the movies really are, because he's not someone that's running in like a wild action thing. He's very specific moves. It's like planning things out, being very careful. Everyone has pitched, and I would be mad if it's not in there, that once you finish a level, it should play it back in real time.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But the thing that surprised me about this, and why it reminded me of another game, is that then it put up the developer's name. It's Bithell Games.
Who?
Thomas Was Alone. More importantly, Volume, which is what this game represents. It's not the same gameplay as Volume, but it's that sort of top-down movement and the sort of stiffer animation. I need the quarantine circular and the subspace circular games. So he's done like 2 visual novels, a story-based platformer with squares, and a stealth puzzle action game. And he's a small, very talented developer. I'm like, that's an interesting choice. I'm very excited. Excited and interested to see what this will be. I assume it's more than just him at the company these days, because he has released like 3 games in the last 2 years. So I can't imagine it's just him.
So is this something we expect on Switch?
I don't know what it's been announced on. Other than I just remembered it's on Epic Games Store.
What isn't these days?
It really is becoming like that. It's like, what is it on there? They're swinging big.
At some point they're going to reach critical mass. Getting Borderlands 3 was basically them. That's their Half-Life 2. Like, a large percentage of PC players are going to install Borderlands 3.
It'll be very interesting. I wonder what if it's going to come back and bite them in the ass, where they make a huge impact on PC gaming. They really ingrain themselves. They basically maybe even take over from Steam as the leader. And then the lawyers come from all these different countries where they're operating but haven't really adhered to their consumer laws yet.
The stuff that Steam has spent the last decade and a half sorting out. That shit. Yeah.
And then they find out that their 12% cut doesn't fucking cut it.
Yeah.
And they have to change it. And at that point, all PR is lost.
But at that point,
they're already market leader. It
doesn't matter. Then Steam swoop in.
Steam come in. We only do 30%. They had to do 50% because of the legal fees. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's very interesting because that 30% always sounds crazy high until you start looking at all the other things that tie into it. And we'll also still think potentially too high. Not as too high as we make it out to be sometimes.
Well, even like as a developer, 30% has never struck me as like, this is insane. Like if I'm making a thing and I can get it to a store to sell and that person takes 30% and I take 70%, I don't know, like that to me is not nuts. Like that person is bringing a lot to the table.
Yes.
Like
the actual ability for you to get this in the hands of a purchaser.
Like, what's the alternative? I host it myself? Like what's this going to do? Right? Like, so I've never really thought that 30% was insane. Like, it's like, okay, sure, 30%.
Yeah. I'm going to cut off all Epic Games Store discussion now because I think people are going to throttle us one day if we keep talking about Epic Games Store.
Sam has also said that he also is a jungler. Thanks, buddy.
Sam. Just.
#jungler.
It's not a good movie.
It is entertaining, fun time.
It looks boring, and it's
I like Jack Black is also a lady. Black, and I like it when Jack Black is excited about the penis.
I think I would really enjoy Jack Black as a buddy. I rarely enjoy him as an actor. Sometimes
he'd be fun to drink with.
I'm sure he would be.
I think he'd be a fun time.
And I think he's better, but still a pretty shitty guitarist. So we could kind of jam in the same shitty way. It's like, I just generally hold the chord and strum, and that's good enough for me. I've got a good sense of rhythm. He's like me. He's got a sense of rhythm. He's not really good with the guitar. He's better than me. Don't get me wrong. He's better than me. But he's not like winning any guitar awards. He's just like, yeah. I can do a G. I can do an A. What else do you need? A D? Get out of here. Get out of here. We sit around the fireplace. He could tell me some stories about Tim Schafer. I said, could you introduce me? He's like, no. Yeah, no. It'd be good. I need to watch his gaming channel. Apparently it's very
I didn't know
funny.
He had one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for a while he couldn't get the games working. But it's all just part of the gag. He does it every week, I think.
Oh, but Sam says he also can't stand that I can't do Wick. So
it's true.
We're not kindred spirits.
If I can't get someone to Wick with me tomorrow or the next night, I may go see this by myself.
Look, I really
like Wick.
I can go watch.
No, fuck off. You're not welcome.
I can't promise to be excited.
I'll go see this with some of my manly friends.
Just look, I can feign manly.
We're gonna sneak in flasks of fucking jet fuel and steaks in our pockets, and we're just gonna eat meat and be men, and afterwards we're gonna start a fight club.
I would. I'd see it. I'm sure I wouldn't hate it.
You wouldn't get all the intricate plot points.
I understand there'll be a dog in there somewhere.
It's 2 dogs, you idiot.
See, just very quickly, I'm just going to try plugging this cable in to a different
bit extra.
Hold on.
James is doing some work. So, let me just double check that. I have one more thing of news I did miss.
I was going to see if that actually makes
one
a
more
difference.
game announcement that we finally got to see some. We got to see some of the new Oddworld game, Soulstorm.
Oh, yeah.
And I was... Look, doesn't look bad, but I was greatly disappointed.
I wouldn't say I was greatly disappointed.
I was only because it's called Soulstorm, which made me go, this will be like when they did all those other Oddworld games that weren't
It wasn't like Abe's Questidus Soulstorm. Yeah. It was, yes, I understand.
Yes, because it does look like a new Abe's Oddysee game. And that would have been...
It looks like a very good Abe's Oddysee game.
Probably. It's got a weird filter over the whole footage.
Yeah, but
it looks like it's fine.
Very, very kind of dynamic levels, and it's a side scroller, but there's a lot going on.
I wanted it to really sell me, okay, what's new about this other than being a new Oddworld game, a new Abe's Oddysee game.
Yeah. It's not Munch's Odyssey. It's not
Strange as Wrath, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to be surprised, and I guess I was surprised, but in a Game of Thrones way, not an early Game of Thrones way, a late Game of Thrones way. Speaking of Games of Thrones, have you watched the second last episode? Tomorrow, because we're using release schedule, is the last episode of Game of Thrones ever.
Yes,
because I'll lay money on those other spin-offs being shite. You can't say anything.
No. At spin-offs wise, I could see a prequel working.
But why? Who's there to write it that's interesting as a writer?
Oh, I mean,
because the thing is, lore is the worst part of Game of Thrones, and that's what they're interested in exploring. Fuck lore. I need good characters.
Yeah, and that's really Cheryl was because Cheryl doesn't watch it.
Of course not, because she's waiting for the books.
She's waiting for the books.
Did you hear a rumor that the books are finished and they just paid him not to release them until after the series is over? Guess which rumor is wrong?
I call shenanigans.
On that one for sure.
I lost what I was going to say.
Cheryl doesn't watch it. Characters.
Oh, yeah. She was asking me, at what point did that show
go off the rails?
Kind of go off the rails. Or at least, change from, being...
good.
Being very good to just good.
That seems like a smaller jump than what we should say. I thought it went to very good to good, and then it went to the last 2 seasons.
I was very happy with the last episode.
And here's the thing. So whilst we're not talking about it, because this is not the Game of Thrones show, with all of my hatred of Game of Thrones, I was actually pretty fine with the last episode. There was a couple of little moments that are just like...
It felt more of like a return to what it used to be.
I think the opening scene maybe. Everything else was still pretty new. But it was like more solidly put together, and the turn that is taking the internet by storm. Dear God, if that wasn't telegraphed to you seasons ago, do you fucking know how to watch television?
I think the point at which the shifted was really when it started being basically when the books ran out, when it was sort of like, we've lost all the nuance of what makes these characters interesting in the books is no longer there. So now it's going to be more about the narrative.
None of the smart characters are smart anymore because no one is writing them. No one is writing them that knows how to write a smart person. Anyway, that's Game of Thrones. Yeah. 1 episode left. Might do a party. I don't know. The problem is, I've spoken to like 7 different individual groups about doing something for the finale. So instead, I might just stay home and shut the doors.
I'm just going to watch it by myself. I'm going to watch it on my little trusty iPad.
Why do you watch it on your iPad?
I can't watch it on the TV.
Why you can't watch it with like a real TV?
But I'm happy to watch it on my little iPad.
This is just boo. Like the one thing that they can do is make spectacle now. Yeah. That's the one thing you can rely on. It's like, oh yeah, they know how to render that dragon good and go to pretty places and put the camera there and get someone with some very attractive. What if there's
little trooper?
What if they just put a bunch of nudity in the last episode because there hasn't really been any for a long time?
I was just like, they've got all these like nude clauses in contracts, and by God, they're going to use them.
The rest of like. Every character that's died is in heaven, and in heaven there are no clothes. And it just slowly pans across.
I'm just imagining a Titanic ending. They're all just there naked.
Thinking like, who would what would they throw over the edge of the boat? The mountain throws the Iron Throne over. We were looking for that throne all along. He just winks at the camera. When's that mountain spin-off coming? That's what I want. Anyway, if you don't care about Game of Thrones, that's all right. We'll talk about video games again. All of those things that... No, not that stuff. Maybe we won't talk about that, even though it's the biggest thing. Let's talk about Shakedown Hawaii.
Yes, that game that we've both been playing.
Now, Shakedown Hawaii is the sequel to Retro City Rampage, which came out on pretty much everything. It's a single developer. He wanted to make GTA for the NES, and he pretty much did that. And it was chock-packed with pop culture references and gaming references, and it was like a manic pace to the whole thing. But basically, you could just be jumping from different game types very quickly in an overworld that was old-style GTA, like GTA 1 and 2. And this is his follow-up, so now it's no longer 8-bit graphics, it's 16-bit graphics. Yeah. And it's based in Hawaii, and you are playing the same character. You're a bit older. You've invested all your money in wise things like video stores, and now streaming is coming in. But you know it's just a fad, so you're going to double down on those video stores. And most of the game involves buying businesses, finding other businesses, shaking them down so they pay you protection money, and going on missions. And before I just continue on my diatribe, do you want to jump in with anything, James? Because I can just talk forever.
It is a game that I want to like more than I actually do.
I 100% with that comment.
Like,
you know what it wants to make me do?
It makes me want to play GTA 1.
Makes me want to play Retro City Rampage.
Oh, God, get some water. I'm good.
I've got some spray of multi-purpose cleaner.
No, I don't think that'll help.
It can't hurt.
Yeah, yes, again. It can do exactly that thing. I think because it is now 16-bit world, not 8-bit world, I'm making closer comparisons to GTA. And as a GTA game, it is not a good GTA game. No. In terms of like what made GTA fun was never playing the missions, because I don't think I ever played a mission in GTA 1.
I played a lot of missions. I played missions in GTA.
I did very few. I just drove around.
What about little RC car missions?
Sorry?
Little RC car missions?
No, I just didn't care.
But you get in and look, and you got to drive under another car and blow it up and stuff like that.
Yeah, maybe I did play some. So what I enjoyed in that game was driving around. The driving had like a lot of inertia to it. Like I could skid and there'd be skid marks on the ground and things like that. And I'd run over Congo lines of Hare Krishnas
And Elvis impersonators.
And Elvis impersonators. And my wanted level would go up and it would escalate into chaos.
Yes.
That's what, like, GTA 3 stayed the same. It's still kind of what it is, right? They actually have kept that kind of core thing all through it. This game doesn't do that. The driving, while functional, does not feel like driving.
Part of the problem... So, it's zoomed in a little bit more than GTA was. And in that, they made the vehicles a bit slower. And I quite like this because it makes it very easy to navigate the thing. The problem is, as you were saying before, one of the things in GTA is inertia. There is no inertia. There's no such thing as a handbrake turn. There's no nothing. You just turn the car and it just turns on a dime.
Yes.
And there's no impact to anything. And in fact, like one of the good things is you often get in games like this, you clip a tree and the vehicle just stops. Well, in this... Nothing stops you other than buildings. Like brick walls, you're just playing straight through them and there's not even a slowdown on you. And you take some damage. It's so minor, it doesn't matter. You may as well just drive at the sidewalk and knock down every fence and post along the way. And I think on top, like, nothing has any impact in the game, including the missions. I don't think I've done a mission that takes longer than 30 seconds.
They're very short. They tend to be very easy. They're fun. Like, I no part of this game have I gone, I hate this.
No. I like almost everything.
I enjoy my time with it. I think it's just that it's getting close to the GTA, and I want to play it like a GTA game because I feel like it could be. Yeah. I feel like you've done this. You've done your kind of like GTA Light Ness world. If you're gonna push it forward, I could just go back and play because I think I enjoyed. River City Rampage, like the
Retro
world.
City Rampage.
Sorry, Retro City Rampage. I think I enjoyed that world more because it was just straight up video gaming.
Yes,
and this one feels like it's trying to be more crime based with multiple characters. It's getting to GTA Land again, but it just doesn't execute on.
You can swap characters just like GTA 5, except it doesn't actually do anything. It just changes the model you're playing. It's like, okay, I think
the inventory swaps out.
Oh yeah, it might be inventory.
It's minor.
It's all very minor. It just feels like he wanted to put so much in, but he didn't want people to get bored. So he just really. I was doing it, going like, okay, I'm in tutorial mode. I'm just like, okay, they're showing me a thing, showing me a mechanic. It's like, here's how I buy stuff. Here's how I do shakedowns. Here's how I go get weapons and kill people. How I do this. Okay. So when are they going to stop giving me these little things and give me like, okay, now go and do stuff and there'll be larger missions that you can partake in, but here's the open world and there'll be a few like mission givers around, and it never happens. It just keeps giving you another little egg. It's just like, go here now, and ignoring it. You can't go ignore it and start collecting everything around the map, and I did a little bit of that, but it feels like there's only one path forward, and what it is always so fast and unimpactful that I'm waiting for the game to start, and I'm like halfway through.
Well, when I've gone exploring, I've never found anything like in GTA 3 where you jump into a fire truck and suddenly you're doing fire truck missions, right? Like I think even GTA 1 and 2, I think could you do that? I can't remember.
Like that.
Yeah, like if I jump into an ambulance or something, I was just expecting it's like, given the nature of what the game is, like I'll get into a fire truck and I'll go fight fires.
Some vehicles do have abilities. But every vehicle you get in sort of puts a little icon in the corner. And like if it's an ambulance, it has the siren there. I'm like, so I must be able to pop the siren. What? But I pushed every fucking button. Nothing pops the siren. Like, what does that button mean and why is that there? Because some things like, like boats have a boost and stuff like that. There are some cool things on the ocean, by the way. There are things to discover in the game. Plus, I do find getting on a bike while being chased by a cop hilarious.
Well, that was the most fun I've had so far. Yes. Was when I jumped on a bike and I was being chased by the cops. Because they run at bike speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the closest it got to the chaos.
But what they need there is so the bikes sort of mainly need sort of the boardwalk because there's obviously a lot of beach and everything. And what they need there is have a bike track with some jumps on it and stuff. So there's an exabyte area and a paperboy area and stuff like that. Which especially in Retro City Rampage, you would have imagined a straight up paperboy rip-off mission. And it's like they're just not here.
Yeah.
And I just playing the whole thing going I know all games at their core are inherently pointless. But this feels even more pointless than most.
Because I felt like the last one was it was like a journey through different video games.
Yeah.
This one, I feel like it's trying to be in a game on its own, which is fine. But I don't feel the game it's trying to be is that interesting. I'm never bored. I'm always having fun. I don't feel like I think it costs $30 or something.
Something like that. I don't think it's quite worth that.
Yeah, if it was 20, I'd probably say sure. So yeah, I don't know. Like it's hard to.
I mean, the amount of work he's put in it is great. Like I think it looks really nice, and the movement's generally good, and like the writing can be quite funny.
I like the animation. Yeah, the writing I enjoy.
It just feels like he could have scaled back like some of like the custom art and just made a little bit more robust gameplay choices in some areas. Because it's just a lot of missed opportunities, and I feel like he could just like. I mean, it was already like years overdue. It's like it feels like he could have just kept going and fixed it up. Anyway, so that is Shakedown Hawaii.
Yeah, it's hard to recommend, but it's also it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Let's run through some more things. James, do you want to pick something off your list to talk about?
All right. What have I got to talk about off my list?
My back is very sore.
Let me look here.
Weirdly. You got 10 seconds.
I'd like to talk about Rogue Bit.
Okay.
Rogue Bit was one of these on sale games that I picked up on the Switch. I think it was like $7 or something like that.
I'm gonna sit back and relax.
You're gonna. Hey, nice. I might lean back a little bit as well. My shoulders are a bit tense. I just need to kind of wiggle them.
Fair enough.
Rogue Bit, and it's. It
sounds good.
Well, okay, like it's a very high concept.
What kind of game is this?
Well, okay, it's a one-person project where it's very high concept. The high concept is you play a very literal rogue bit in a computer that has become sentient, and this is someone who has a good understanding of computer architecture. Mm-hmm. So it's like someone's got the computer architecture book, and they said it's almost edutainment. It's like, okay, I want to make this game about moving through a computer. What does that mean? So the basic traversal mechanic is you're moving through memory. So everything has a memory address. And you move from byte to byte in memory. But you move via the XOR operation, which means it's an exclusive OR. So you can't ever not exist. So the way it blocks off the world is you can only move into things where you can XOR into it, which means that particular bit of the byte needs to be clear. Otherwise, it's not an exclusive OR and you disappear.
This description is fucking terrible, James.
But it's like, okay, all right, let me take a step back. I remember not everyone's a programmer, understands. Okay, all right.
I mean, I know most of the words you're saying.
I'm okay, so think of it, so it's an ASCII-based game. Okay. Now, each ASCII character is a byte.
Yes.
And so in order to move through the world, you can only move through areas which you can perform an operation on to move into without your particular byte disappearing.
So how are you moving?
So you just move with arrow keys to move around.
Okay. So you're physically moving in space.
You're physically moving in space. And so it actually has like two representations of the world. Like it has the you can see the bits and then the ASCII representation. And so you basically it's just a world in which you're moving forward through, and so you're just going to go for it's almost like a puzzle game, going from kind of room to room. Where like it has a bunch of mechanics like I've never really seen before. So it kind of makes me think a little bit Zachtronics in terms of.
I looked it up, so now I get what you're talking about.
Yeah. In terms of like the puzzles tend to be very programming based. Where I struggle with this game, and it's actually part of the reason it's so hard to explain. As someone who is a programmer, and I think I have a decent grasp on a lot of the concepts in this. It's even for me, it's not particularly intuitive. So a way you solve the puzzles is because you're a bit, and so effectively what you can do is
you're struggling to explain.
It's so
this.
hard to explain.
Fantastic.
Okay, so the way you can influence the world is perform an operation on your bit into a neighbor, which means you could say change a character to a different character because you're XORing yourself into it. So it means that you can.
What's the physical representation of this?
The physical representation is ASCII characters that you move through.
Like, do you have to physically move things, or do you have to just go up and activate things?
Oh, okay. Think of it like you interact with the world by corrupting it.
But what does that mean?
So
when you move your character to it, it automatically does something?
So
are there like switches that you pass over?
No. So there are programs that are running.
What does this mean?
So
what do you in the game world? What does that mean?
So okay. So there might be...
I know what it means in concept.
Okay. No.
I don't know what it means in the practice of what this game looks like and plays like.
All right, let me just try. So, okay, I can do this, Paul.
No, I don't believe you.
I can do this.
My faith in you has long gone.
Yeah. Okay. As Sam is, okay, yeah, it's basically Sam's trying to explain it better. I'm not relying on Sam for this. I'm gonna do it. Okay. So one of the puzzles might be you need to get past a block. Right?
What I like, he just put up a description, which is pretty much what I was going to ask you. Is it like that?
Yeah.
So he says it is, but now you go.
So some of the puzzles might be you need to get past a block.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, there can be a computer program running. Every time you step, it moves time forward.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So there will be...
That's part of the rogue element.
So there will be a program when the program is represented by actual like assembler operations that are in the world that will move through.
And the program is running in another window so you can see what it's doing? No,
it's in the same world that you're in.
Okay.
Okay. So it's running. So and
it can be physically manipulated?
Yes. So what you can do...
Can certain blocks of that program be pushed?
No. Nothing can be pushed. You cannot push anything.
Oh, okay. So we can't go Bubba as you as a thing.
No, it has nothing to do with pushing. So
this is the next fucking 3 hours of my life,
so,
isn't it?
So what you can do is you can effectively corrupt a program while it's running to make it do something different.
Mean?
To corrupt it,
yes.
you move your bit into one of the operations.
Okay.
So it might say, for example... like move particular byte of memory into the CPU register where it's going to be processed by the CPU. So there'll be somewhere in the world, will say like store, whatever the term is, a memory address.
How much is this game?
$7.
I wonder if I could buy it, download it, and play the first level and explain it to the audience before you get a confident description.
If you move your bit into the program, you can then change what, say, memory address is going to be copied. Or you yourself may be copied into the CPU. That can happen too. Then it gets even more confusing.
Okay.
So it is
So 7 out of 10?
It's a perfect score, 7 out of 10. It's a...
No, isn't that 5 out of 7?
5 out of 7 perfect score. Look, it's a very unique mechanic. And it's very hard.
Oh, it sounds very unique. It sounds indescribably unique.
It's difficult to explain because so much of the game's happening in the one play space. And the one play space is doing so many different things at the one time. Like the sheer fact that you can alter... there's a program which is manipulating the environment that exists in the environment that you can then manipulate in different ways. Because it's a byte... in memory, it can either be an actual value or a memory address. Like, this is another thing, right? So
you're a teacher, right?
I've done it before. This game's very hard to explain, Paul. It's very hard.
Man, I hope I just play and go like, oh, yeah, it's just like solitaire.
Now you're going to play it, and you're going to be like, why did James have trouble explaining this? Has Sam got my back? No one's got my back. No. I'm trying so hard to explain it. And... It's a game which it's very convoluted with how it works, and so I actually end up brute forcing myself through most of the things because. But
we need to remind everyone that you couldn't get Bubba as you, so you.
No, I get Bubba as you.
No. It almost destroyed your
my relationship.
The frustration watching you trying to understand the first 5 levels of Bubba as you.
I did struggle with Bubba as you.
This is why his students suck at programming.
That's yes. He's one of my students.
Yeah.
So I think if you have an interest in computer architecture, it's because it tries to explain things as you go. Like the tutorial is just sort of ASCII characters in the world, which tries to explain what's going on about byte operations and things like that. So there's something to learn there, but I don't think what's there lends itself to particularly interesting puzzles. I think because it's so such a counterintuitive concept, because so many things in the world can...
Sam's description
is
it's a 2D tile-based puzzler where standing on different tiles causes the active game loop to change and manipulate the world. So the programs you're talking about, by standing on different parts of that program...
Yes.
Do they ever physically block you from getting to certain parts of the program?
Yes.
Okay, so active parts that you have some access to, because there's no pushing in the game.
No.
If it's blocked, it's just blocked, basically. Unless you've changed the program to change those things.
Yes, unless you can clear that bit.
Okay, so unless you can find a way to sit down and... So when you corrupt a bit in that program, does that bit just non-functional in the program, or does it change its meaning?
It changes its meaning.
Okay, so going into program... Changing an individual, let's just say an argument, even though that's incorrect.
No. Okay. Argument or operation. Argument or operation.
Okay. Changing part of that script that's running. You change the script of the program of the level you were running in by standing in positions.
Yes.
And that will solve the puzzle.
Yes.
Okay. I stopped reading his thing after I got that.
Yes, that's basically it.
Okay, sounds very simple and very easy to explain. You're a madman.
I think what makes it hard to explain is that I do think about it through the lens of a programmer.
Being a madman. So that's a rogue bit.
It's called rogue bit.
Okay, look, I replayed some World of Goo. So they've got these goo balls, and if you grab one and pull it out, you can build a structure with it. It just connects to local goo balls. That's most of the game. It's about building structures.
Yep.
It's one of the best games ever made. It's free on Epic Game Store at the moment.
You should go get it.
They did an update to make it run at higher resolutions. I actually think it's a little bit rough, the update, but it's still a great game. It has an amazing soundtrack and a surprisingly good story about goo balls. And it's a great game. That's my 30 seconds of rogue bit.
I wish I could explain rogue bit that easy. Sam says the trick is to explain it without programming, but the game is about programming.
You can't do it without.
The way you interact with the world is programming, and you have to understand XOR operations.
No, I don't think I do. I'm going to get this. I'm going to blast through this game, and you're going to be like, Paul, how good are you at assembly?
You can try.
I'll get through, no problem.
Because it's not very well designed for what it's trying to do.
You know how I went through Battle Bros. U without ever breaking a sweat. I finished that game 100%. I've got to keep working on that because Sam is desperate for me to get to some of those later levels.
I do really want you to give it a go. Plug the mic back in. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I'm trying to try a different plug. I haven't tried going through the actual proper thing.
Well, you don't say. Well, apparently it's different to what it used to be.
Let me just try this.
Let's not talk about it. Okay, I'm going to talk about another actual game. Well, I mean, World of Goo is a game, but I've been playing Steamworld Quest.
Let's just try that. Okay, I've been interested in Steamworld Quest,
which is also coming out on PC like in a week or two or something.
Mm-hmm.
Steamworld Quest is the latest in the Steamworld series, and this one is it's RPG themed, but it's pretty linear.
Yeah.
Card-based. Dungeon
like
crawler.
Slay the Tower style thing?
Slay the Spire.
Slay the Spire.
Except I haven't played Slay the Spire.
Neither have I, but it looked like they were similar.
So I imagine this has some slight differences, and I will explain how. So basically, your character has 8 cards, and a certain number of cards, I think 5 cards are called at the beginning of a turn.
Mm-hmm.
And you can choose cards. Some cards will build up, basically, we'll say it's gears, but because it's SteamWorld Gig, I think Steam.
Mm-hmm.
So you build up Steam by playing some, and some cards cost Steam to do. Okay, very, very simple. That's one character. Hey, you've only got 8 cards and you pull 5 at a time. That's pretty whatever. You're getting most of the cards each time.
Yeah.
But of course there are multiple characters. And each of these characters have 8 cards. And you only pull 5 at once. And you play 3 cards per turn. I forgot to mention that the first time. So each turn...
So do they have their own decks, or they have 8 cards?
So every character's 8 cards goes into the one deck.
Okay. All right.
So you get 5 cards out across 3 characters. Now, you can get...
This is like the Ben 10 game that I made.
Maybe.
You picked 3 characters, each character had a set of cards and it went into the one deck.
That might be exactly. So one of the things you will have to choose quite regularly is if you get 3 cards from the same character, they pull out a 4th card, which is something you know. So say one of them has a guardian ability that puts a shield up around everyone if you get 3 cards out of them. So it means that you have to get enough power for them to use 3 cards. Mm-hmm. And you might just use cards that aren't really going to be effective in that turn just to get that 4th card out. And you can also swap 2 cards. So you might be able to say, can't you really use that in this turn or the next? Or swap that out and hopefully I'll get a 3rd card to use for one character to get that special ability. So it's simple, but becomes very quickly like you're starting to make some interesting choices quite fast. And I'm playing like the earlier characters, there's 2 that have quite a lot of barrier healing properties. So it's one of those things where I very rarely take damage because you can add just barriers to the end of your health, and I'm like, they never get below my shields. It's like, just pumping the shields up the whole time. But as you're going around, you're collecting other cards, and you only have 8 at once. So you can put multiple of the same type in there, but it's a really limited choice per character. So it's like, okay, well, how am I going to use this character? Are they a straight up damage character? Are they a character that is just basically generating that resource so other characters can do big spells and stuff like that? But also because it's a limited space and you're doing basically creating 3 small decks, there's a lot of space to experiment with it because the play space isn't that big. It becomes like, okay, I'm going to specifically make a character that can do this, one can do this, one can do this, and then you sort of play with the balance of, well, I'm actually finding in fights I don't have enough energy, or
so I understand the deck building.
Yep.
So it's like you got 3 characters. They have a set of cards.
Yes.
You pick 8 per character,
and then each character has completely unique cards.
Yeah, and so you take those 24 cards, and that becomes your deck.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And when you run out of cards, I assume you just shuffle the deck.
It just keeps going through. Yeah.
So because doing 24 is enough that you don't have to worry about too much RNG. Like there's a good chance. And you said five hands, five cards per
unless
hand?
you get a card that gets you pull an extra card. Okay. Like that. So and effectively you get 7 cards per round because you can swap 2.
Yep. Okay.
So you can play it pretty intelligently. Like, I know this is going to come up soon, so if I hold off, I can get that big attack in or something like that. The writing is mostly skippable. Not that like Steamworld Dig I think has pretty good writing.
I like the first one did have good writing.
Heist was okay.
Heist I had problems with.
Writing wise or just
mechanic wise?
Yeah, I'm talking about the writing. This one I think is probably the worst writing, but it also has a nice skip button. It works fine. Yeah. The gameplay I think is very functional and fun and very easy to do in short bursts, which I always like for the Switch.
Okay, well, that's good because like after Heist, I was kind of a bit skeptical about their other kind of genre explorations.
Yeah, from what I've heard of Slay the Spire, I imagine that will be more of, that has that more roguelike element where so you get crazier builds. This is more very designed. But that's good because Slay the Spire is going to come out to Switch not too far in the future. And it will be probably, I expect, a pretty different experience. But I don't know because I haven't played it.
I'm excited about Slay the Spire, even though I know very little about what it is. I just know a lot of people like it.
Yes.
And I assume it'll work well on Switch.
Yes. And it's one of those things I've learnt to like card games, deck building games. But I also don't like the wide space of once you start getting into them seriously. So I like something that gives you limited sets. So Slay the Spire where you're actually you just have a run and these are the cards you got this run. Great. I don't want 100 cards that I have to pick 20 out of. It's like, no, that's fine. You give me the options and I work out the best options from those options. That's more interesting for me. So I'm interested in that too. Yeah, so SteamWorld Quest on Switch currently, coming out to PC, and I imagine it'll eventually make its way to most things. Because they're a small team. They just get stuff out when they can. And if you missed SteamWorld Dig 2, that was a really, really good game. Better than the first, I'd say. Sweet. James, do you want to talk about anything before we get on to the big one?
Give me a look at my thing. I will quickly just talk about Burning Daylight. Won't talk about Blops.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to go, actually, nah.
Fuck everything. Don't get Blops 4 on Humble. Not worth it. No one plays it. I had a game yesterday. That was good, I guess. First one so far.
Well, don't get this month's Humble 4 Blops, basically.
No, because the game on PC is very dead.
I mean, it'll be free to play next month. So.
Yeah. So Burning Daylight. So I put this in the genre of Steam games, which is portfolio piece. When there's like those free games, but they can have kind of high production values behind them, and you're like, why is this free? So it's quite a short game. It's basically a little walking simulator.
Yeah.
Most of which you play with your cock out. So I'd expect Paul will be interested in this
Burning
game.
Daylights, I'll underscore it. That's 5 underlines.
5 lines, yes. Basically a little walking simulator in a very stylized world where you wake up completely buck naked, basically in a slaughterhouse. And you just sort of start moving.
So when you're saying stylized, what kind of stylized?
I want to think... I actually almost want to say Incredibles. But not in its colour tone, more in its proportions.
So a representation of a real world with slightly cartoony.
Yeah. But it's much more kind of eventually gets much more cyberpunk. In its tone. And it's really it's probably I'm going to say maybe about 45 an hour tops to get through this thing. And after I finished it, it's actually from like a university group. I think it's actually like it's a folio piece from some animation university somewhere in the US.
Waking up naked in a slaughterhouse, you must escape and travel through a dystopian world to uncover the truth of your origins.
Yeah, that's a more than the game's actually going to give you. It's not particularly conclusive. Like it's an interesting little thing, which at the beginning I didn't really like, because it's a bit buggy. There was I had a weird bug where I got caught in a pain animation, which was trying to eject me out of the area where I was in pain, except it just kept pushing me further and further into the area.
So it looks like a adventure game.
Yeah. So it's sort of like it's mainly you moving left to right.
Yeah. Is it like direct control or point and click?
Direct control.
Yep.
Yeah. I just use a controller. So it kind of kept like pushing me further and further into the damage thing. So like I quit. Like, okay, it's checkpoint. So like I went back in, but the checkpoint was like about 3 chapters ahead of where I was. So like, oh no, I've got to go back to like an earlier chapter.
It's very pretty.
Oh yeah, gorgeous game. The animation itself is a bit hit and miss. Like a lot of it looks pretty good. Like there's sort of things in the environment, like big claws and things that are moving around. They look fantastic.
Well, claws are easier to animate.
The people, most of the character animation is okay. Where it kind of falls a bit short is like some of the like when you use something, like the character will snap to it. Like it doesn't have like a clean animation to like where you need to get to. But yeah, I mean, as a little short experience, it's fine. I started off not liking it after maybe about 20 minutes. It kind of like started to pick up a bit of pace, and did end up being a world I wanted to explore more. There are things which seem to try to be puzzles, but they just simply aren't.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you just think of it like a walking simulator, that's really closest to what it is. I'd be curious. Like, there's clearly some talent that goes into it. Like, you can grab it on Steam; it's just free.
Burning Daylight.
Yeah,
it's got dicks.
It does have dicks.
There is a man running, I think, in the Victorian Senate, and his name is Max Dix. And it says, I think it's like, "Don't be a dick, vote for one."
Yeah,
it's like pretty good slogan. I know nothing about him. He's
but vote one, Max Dix.
Dick jokes.
Yeah,
I mean, it's better than most of our micro parties, that's for sure. We literally have a "We're Full" party. And we have one which is Love It or Leave It, I think it's called.
It made me real sad looking through those
the
micro
fact
parties.
That the majority of our parties are basically
big old
white
racists.
Nationalists.
Yep.
It's like, and like that doesn't mean that there's a lot of people behind those movements, but they're like, we need a voice.
Yeah, like, no, you
if
don't.
You could shut up a bit more, that would be great.
Yeah. Good old Fraser Anning. You reckon he's going to pick up some votes?
He, unfortunately, is not a non-chance of getting into the Senate because we have a lot of racist fucks.
Don't vote for Fraser Anning.
I wish I had more brown friends.
Don't. Anyway, politics. I'm a bit sad with this upcoming election. I'm hoping it doesn't make me sad.
I'm hoping the election doesn't make me sad, but my heart is in a position that
I'm expecting sadness.
More than willing to feel some sadness at least. The best thing today was Pauline Hanson saying that Fraser Anning is a racist, and also one sentence later saying he's just trying to be like me. It's like,
oh, Pauline, she's her own worst enemy.
She just like I don't imagine she has a PR person anymore, but if they did, they would just constantly hit it. It's like, shut up, just. We know you're a piece of shit. Stop telling people you're a piece of shit.
I really feel bad for regional Australia that Pauline Hanson is
such a strong voice.
So it's like it's their person. Like it's kind of the best they got. Like, oh,
it's not the best they got, but it's the loudest voice.
It's the loudest voice they got.
Is airing their disapproval of things, but they don't have a good voice of their disapproval. That's the hard thing. How do you get someone up that's outside of the culture without then just being plastered as anti the culture? It's rough. Anyway, this is the political show. So let me now talk about my PlayStation VR.
Oh yeah, because you've been hacking that shit.
So I was like, I really would like to play some PlayStation, some VR on my PC. Like, but I can't use this on there, can I? One Google later, and I find out you can use PSVR and Move controllers, and sometimes the best way of tracking these things is with the Knack.
That's the beautiful part.
So I have a Knack hooked up, and my headset and my Move controllers all ready to go. And
how has it been so far?
They all work individually, and I've spent a couple of hours trying to get everything to work together, and everything works, but I've never successfully played it in game. Which is why I wouldn't recommend it as an option.
Yeah.
I think I'll mainly stick to playing on the PlayStation for now. But it's fun. It's fun to mess around with.
Cool, you can get somewhere with it.
Yeah. It's just the fact that because you can play Beat Saber without controllers. You can just use the skeleton. Yeah. It's like, okay.
I don't know how that's going to go.
That works okay.
Yeah.
That's the thing. All these things are like pretty good, but the thing with VR is that pretty good isn't good enough. Pretty good is let's throw up all over the room. You need it to be
really good,
almost flawless.
Yeah. Actually, just to go back briefly to Burning Daylight for a sec. So, for some reason, whenever I loaded this game up, it would kick off my VR headset.
Oh yeah.
So I play and be like, it's just like suddenly the Windows mixed reality thing will pop up. I'm like, it's not a VR game. Put on the headset. Like nothing's going on. And so eventually I figured out, look, I'm just gonna Alt Tab back to the game and just let the VR thing run in the background. But there's one point in the game where your character puts on a headset, and I was like, at that point, I'm like, oh, have they done it? And I excitedly put it on my face, like, oh. How sneaky VR?
It would be.
That'd be like, that would have blown my mind.
There's too much overhead to do it sneakily. Yeah. But one day we'll be able to do that. It's like,
sneaky bit of sneaky VR.
Okay, so blah, 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 blah. I downloaded Gunman Clive because I really liked Extermination Force so much.
How is it?
Hate that game. Shit. I thought it always looked bad, but it plays badly too. I haven't tried Gunman Clive 2. They were packaged together. So, okay. Shall we get on to the big boy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so James came over, wanted to play some games.
Yep.
Played some co-op-y, dungeon crawly things.
We basically anything with the word dungeon in it.
Yep.
We gave a go.
And then I said, hey man, have you actually played Knack 2? And James was like, nah, why would I play Knack 2?
Yeah, I think they gave it away free a while ago, didn't they?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Anyway,
I think when I bought it was $5.
Yeah, you had Knack 2 anyway.
So I was like, well, we should try Knack 2. I'm just going to lean back again because my back is surprisingly killing me today.
Give this a go as well. Oh, that feels pretty good.
Yeah. So we loaded it up, and
this is like Sleepy Time with Spaghetti Boys.
It is a bit. And Knack 2 is phenomenal. Might be overstating slightly, but it's especially as a co-op experience. It is so slick. It's so. The game starts, and I just say, James, just hit a button, and suddenly there's two Knacks. They split apart.
They just they kind of just sort of little elements pull out, and I'm Sanic Knack.
And I'm just regular
Knack.
And just like the tutorial is made so that two players can do it properly. When you unlock abilities, you then also unlock co-op abilities.
Well, that's what I thought was really cool. It's like so far every ability we've got has had a co-op variant on it.
Yeah. It's a better balance than the first game because the first game was actually surprisingly hard. This game is like solid brawling, which sometimes enemies can hit hard, but it all feels very satisfying, and you can work together. It looks really nice. The Knack's design, which is weird.
Yeah, the combat system itself is good. Like there's countering, there's a good dodging system.
So you can block and parry and dodge, and you got light and heavy hits. You then start getting elemental abilities onto your suit, so you can get metal ice, and they give you an extra ability on top of that. There's secrets everywhere that are always hunting down. The weirdest thing is whenever you go and get a chest, it blocks the ability to broadcast the game.
Yeah, look, they don't want to give out any of those secrets.
They don't want to know where this chest is. Fucking genius.
And there's some weird trading mechanic where if other people are playing the game, I think you can send them some of the parts you find. Idea. I don't know, it's a bit weird.
It kept giving me fictional friends because I don't have any real friends. It has some sort of story, which we mainly just talk to each other during.
Yes.
The characters look cool, but I do not care what they're saying.
No.
But you might have noticed there's a pattern with me for almost everything.
Yeah.
The skip button is one of the best things ever created when it comes to narratives in video games.
It reminds me a little bit of Uncharted, like in just sort of like the setting of it.
Yeah,
It's like a kid's Uncharted game.
I think Naughty Dog really copied a lot from Knack 2.
Yeah, I'd say that's it's where it started. Yeah.
I mean, like, we joked about talking about it forever, but there actually isn't that much to say other than, like, it's super fucking... And they just got so many things, so... Like, there's just a button to warp to the other player.
Yeah.
Which negates all problems with somebody not, like, struggling with a platforming section or such. It doesn't matter. Like, it really just comes down to you... There's nothing in here to get in the way of you having fun with somebody else.
Even the abilities, which you... Like, the co-op abilities, which can be a little bit trolly...
Oh, yeah, and trolling another person is great fun in co-op.
Yeah, but it's like the troll is also a really powerful attack. Yeah. So that one where you can, like, launch the other person forward. Yeah, it does a lot of damage.
You can go behind the other player, kick them, and they launch forward, which, is great for kicking someone off a cliff or just like, oh, you're not going to get that power. Yeah. I'm going to kick this out of the way. All things you collect are shared anyway. Yeah. It doesn't matter, but it's great racing for each other anyway. It's like, but also, yeah, as James said, that kick forward is actually one of the most powerful things. So So if I kicked you across the map and also you killed 3 people in the process, so pretty good. Man, if you got someone you want to play with, a kid, a loved one, an enemy,
it's super accessible.
It's like, and it's probably still like $5.
Well, like what I really liked is that it's just something we can play that we can chat.
Yeah,
and I liked that we sort of started playing it half as a joke. But then
I knew it was not a bad game.
Yeah, like I knew you were saying, like I knew it wasn't going to be bad. We were like, we'll play Knack. We've heard it's all right. But then we just kept playing it.
Yeah,
like we just fell into this like nice like.
So one of the things, and so Knack is made up of little bits basically, and so as you break things in the level, you get more bits, so you become bigger and more powerful. And basically every main it's not a chapter because the chapters are broken into chapters, but like main mission of the game, you start small again, like at 5 foot, and then throughout that, so every little story in the game has its own power curve where you start.
You start about 5 feet, and if you end up around 12.
Well, we were close to 20 feet at the end of the last one.
It seems to be like so you still get that progression. Like you don't just get big and then you just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So you get that nice, but it does seem like every time it just pushes it a little bit further. You get
more abilities, you get more stuff, but then each story is starting small, getting a bit bigger, and so you have the enemies are a bit tough at the beginning of the level, and then by the end you're just literally walking everyone, one-shotting everyone, and the giant things that you were avoiding are now things that you just punch in the face, and it's really satisfying. Yeah. It's really, I can't wait for Knack 3. PS5 launch title. It's going to be fucking incredible.
The biggest problem's got
4 Knacks
is really just Knack himself.
Yeah, Knack is a shitty character.
It's like he doesn't look good.
He's got a bucket for a head, and he's made up of balls and pyramids.
The human characters look great. Just Knack himself.
I was watching something that had it was a new Simpsons and it had a brilliant line in it. It was Marge had gone into a crystal store or something and she was looking at crystals and they were explaining what was good. It's like, doctors are only now discovering what pyramids have known for centuries. It's like, genius. Crystals, they'll solve everything. But Knack is the crystals of PlayStation 4.
Surprisingly fun.
Yeah, I think it's a real blast.
I don't know if it's going to be too long.
We'll find out. Yeah. I think we're going to take a break from it for a while.
Because I think we're through... We should maybe break by skill tree. Because I think we're almost through like the first skill tree.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll look it up. Maybe we've got to replay it for the other skill trees.
Maybe
it's a branching storyline.
Remember that quest where you murdered all those dudes?
We murdered a lot of people.
There's that one quest where it's like, oh, we just want you to like prove your worth by beating up everyone in our city.
Yeah, but you beat them up and they get crushed to death, and then 1 second later, they're just an animation of them jumping off screen. That's what I loved. So good. They got it all. Characters that look a bit like Astro Boy characters.
Yeah.
That's the people. Anyway. Yes, Knack 2. Buy it, because it will be like $1. You probably already own it and don't realize. So, okay. I suppose there is one bit of news we didn't talk about, and I was like, I wasn't sure. So, Randy Pitchford.
What Randy Pitchford news? This man has been saying and doing a lot of things. He's assault allegations? Is that where we're going this time?
You know what? So I actually have here verse David Eddings, who is the voice of Claptrap, who said he'd come back and then they didn't really want to pay him and then they started having a battle and he's like, yeah, you shouldn't have embezzled that $12 million or assault me. But let's not delve into that side. Let's stick on the more... See, the problem with Randy Pitchford is that he's an idiot in... PR terms. I don't know about him.
I actually don't know from a business perspective. I don't know much about how he does.
I don't. Well, all other than him allegedly embezzling $12 million.
Well, apart from the embezzlement and yes.
Then other business things we do know about Colonial Marines.
Yeah, so there's those things.
But as a human being that has a Twitter account, he is an idiot. So during the Borderlands 3 launch, he went, and this isn't verbatim. I'll try to get the spirit of the whole thing before the action. It's like, it's going to be great. We've got, you're going to be able to put on hats and dress up and all this stuff, and we're going to have no microtransactions, no loot boxes, any of that stuff. Everyone's like, woo! Everyone's standing applause. No microtransactions. Next day, Game Informer writes an article. Borderlands 3 does have microtransactions for cosmetics.
Yes, and that was it. They weren't saying that he was lying. They were just basically clarifying. They were saying, he said no microtransactions.
Randy Pitchford on Twitter. Now, again, I don't have it written down, so I'm just going to do the gist of it. It's like, you knew what I was talking about when I said that I was saying that there was, of course, going to be there was, of course, going to be for sale premium cosmetics, just none of that loot box and pay to win shit. Why would you fuck me on this?
Yeah.
Then he spent the next 18 hours on Twitter fighting with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing here, Randy, is that words have meanings, and the word you used was wrong.
All you had to do is say, oh, I misspoke.
Yes. Even on stage, the person next to him was a bit like, when he said it, because the word was wrong.
Yes.
The words you wanted was to say, we don't have any loot box or pay-to-win mechanics in here.
You can stop right there.
Right there. The yelling no microtransaction is a thing to get people very excited, but then the news cycle is going to turn on you pretty fast because it's not true. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I would be surprised if it had nothing in there, because that's just the state of AAA game development these days. Now, the thing that Randy Pitchford needs to learn is to shut the fuck up. So, James, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What are the names of the new characters in Borderlands 3?
I had no idea.
What did Randy Pitchford say to Game Informer when they posted a thing?
Not to fuck them.
Yeah. He keeps taking the narrative of their new game and making about him being a dickhead.
Yeah, that's really... because everything I'm hearing about Borderlands 3, the game itself, it's been very positive. But
I don't hear that much about it because most of it's about Randy Pitchford pulling some more shit, pulling some more magic tricks.
Yep.
Spraying a magic trick out of a special place that he left in a medieval times. Just shut up. Just get off the spotlight for a while, man. Your game is fun. It looks like more Borderlands and people like Borderlands and it's cleaned up. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely what generally people want out of a Borderlands. Probably.
He probably really wants that attention and limelight. No one becomes a magician unless they,
it's true. Maybe it's all a trick. Maybe there is no Randy Pitchford. Maybe all of this is that. Maybe Randy Pitchford is David Eddings and is that lawyer. None of it exists. It's all a fiction. It's like, it was me all along. Who do you think Randy Pitchford really is?
Peter Molyneux.
Oh, fuck! Perfect.
We're getting close to the center of the cube, Paul.
He said, the entire career has been performance art. That's lovely. It's like I've never had I can't do a Peter Molyneux actually, so I won't try. I've never had an interest in game development. What I love is art, and I think you'll find my entire career and Gearbox, when you look at it as a reflection of society, I've really achieved it. I am the Warhol, and then he just gives soup to everybody.
I'm just.
Fuck yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Peter Molyneux, for all you've given us. I mean, the thing is, as much as Randy Pitchford needs to shut up, I do enjoy it.
Oh, it's great internet drama.
He is a special fellow. And I still, if Randy Pitchford said, Paul, would you like to come see a magic show at my castle?
Oh, of course you would.
I fucking don't.
going to see. If I end up like naked in the sex pit, I'm going to see where this thing goes.
I do wonder if he has a sex pit. It's probably got a great NDA. It's like, what's behind that room? It's like, no,
here's the form.
Not until you sign this piece of paper. Okay. What does it mean? Do you know any magic tricks? It's like, whoa, if you did, you'd know. Just crosses no for you. Pretty. I learned some tricks. Anyway, that's most of our show. We have a few games we haven't mentioned. Do you want to jump into any of those, James? Or
no, I mean, because I've been playing Swords of Ditto, and I've
been enjoying it.
Apart from the load times, I do find them a bit on Switch. Long. It's just a little bit, especially when there's some abilities which knock you back. And if you shoot at the edge of the screen, you get...
accidentally getting outside the screen like is a little bit too long.
It's not a deal breaker, but it's definitely like, I don't really want to go back to the town.
The general loop's okay for you? Not too it's not frustrating you?
No, I find it's pretty forgiving.
I mean, from what I hear, what we're playing is quite different to the initial launch. So I think they found a balance that... Because it doesn't annoy me at all.
No, I enjoy the combat. I think there's enough meat to it. I feel like I learn how to beat enemies, and then they're less of a problem.
So there are some things we didn't talk about. If you can vote in Australia and you can go in a time machine to 2 days ago, Labor is going to reinstate the game fund.
Yes, 25 mil they're going to be putting back into the Australian game fund,
which they used to have, and then the Libs shut it down.
That's cool, but the Libs just pledged to buying a bunch of military shit.
Yeah, well, like $600 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, I was pulling that out of my ass, but I
actually think it was like 90 bill.
I was thinking, I think it was
90 billion. I think.
Yeah. Yep, that's just sort of a gift to the next government.
Yeah, like they haven't spent it; they've pledged to it. So for the next time that they can say that Labor's like, oh, look at this mismanagement. Anyway,
pretty much. We never even spoke about Sonic on this show. We quickly mentioned and said we were going to, but then we never did.
Yeah.
So they released a trailer for Sonic, and he was disturbingly hideous.
Yep.
And it seemed like a kind of bad movie. But then in response, the director has said, you know what, we're going to go back, we're going to redesign him. Which is the craziest fucking thing I've ever heard. Because they're not changing the release date.
Yeah, like I'd expect for that to happen, they'd be pushing this shit back.
Yes, so it either means they have to kill every animator.
Yes, work them to death.
The actual rework has to be basically nothing. Or the best part is the conspiracy theory that it was bad on purpose. Yeah, no, which is insane.
No,
because why would anybody ever do that?
No one would do that.
Yes.
Yeah, that is dumb.
Isn't it nice living in a world where you could think that could be true?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, because here's the thing. So they make Sonic look hideous with crazy teeth and long legs and everything on purpose, and then it comes out, and there isn't an internet outcry. And you've designed this other Sonic that you've put all the money in. And everyone's like, oh no, I like it. I like this weird, fuckable Sonic.
With his human mouth and teeth.
I mean, that's what you need.
Yeah.
And then, oh no. No, we banked all the money on everyone hating this.
This is the equivalent of when you need to do a pitch to someone and you make the deliberately bad idea. Yeah. So they pick your good idea, but they pick the bad idea.
So, shit, can I clarify how bad it is again? It also steals your blood. Oh, I do have too much blood. Damn it! Again, Sonic was here. And the other thing was we saw Detective Pikachu. And the best part about Detective Pikachu was the couple sitting next to me who were very intensely watching and seemed quite off-put whenever a childish thing happened in the movie because they were there for some serious Pokemon.
Look, they were there for their realistic take on Pokemon. And there was silly things were happening, Paul.
It's a film for children.
Yes.
And it's other than I think a few pacing issues for kids, I think it's a pretty good film.
I really enjoyed it.
I just love the way everything looks and the world is realised and
I liked
most of the characters are enjoyable.
I liked the story.
I think the story was absolutely fine.
Yeah.
When I've heard a few complaints, I'm like, what the fuck did you want?
Yeah.
It's a solid story that reflects on itself and is entirely self-contained.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell were you after? It's still a kids movie at the base. And then I always want to know what those people have as their base of good storytelling, because I bet it's shit I make fun of. I bet they go like, "Oh, I love Inception." I'm going like, "You're a fucking child."
No, I've reached a point now whenever there's any kind of big Hollywood thing that happens that has a passable plot, I'm a happy man.
I'm with that.
It's like you've managed to pull off competent. oh, good. Like, this is...
Like, why wasn't that skyscraper film better? It just wasn't competent in its plot. We wanted some more. Oh, I hope that's someone complaining about me picking on Inception on the chat. Please.
No, it's Cal saying thank you, Paul.
Good.
No, I think it's something that I've sort of come to realize that whenever you have a big project with a lot of money, and this is probably like from Marvel and Star Wars, things like that, it's actually really fucking difficult to spend that much money and that many people and that much like investment to have something good.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And so when I see a movie come along, which is a big blockbuster that is like competently put together, I'm like, this is well done. Like, this is actually an accomplishment. You're not amazing, but the sheer fact you got passable is an accomplishment.
That's actually like big games are like that too for me. It's like the fact that Assassin's Creed games are playable blows my mind. It's like, just wait. The credits go for 6 hours, and there's, I mean, that's an exaggeration, but there's literally thousands of people involved.
The logistics of getting that many people to make a cohesive
in multiple
product
nations
with different,
coming through.
like, it's a phenomenal accomplishment.
Yeah.
And then every now and then you get something like, you know, your God of War or something like that, which somehow manages to be like huge and excellent. But then I also don't know if the team on God of War was huge compared to, say, something like an Assassin's Creed game.
They get sort of a bit of external, like, you know, you can't just do it as a single studio most of the time. You have people coming in and helping. But like, I've worked on one feature film. It's a piece of unwatchable shit, and it's a massive achievement. The fact that it got filmed and put together and released is a goddamn miracle. The fact that it makes no sense and it's crap, that's completely beside the point.
Like, creating with a small team is hard.
Yeah.
And it just gets exponentially more difficult the more people you add.
Yeah.
It's So well done, Pikachu. Dex Pikachu. You were a competent movie with a completely acceptable plot.
I and Ryan Reynolds released the whole thing on YouTube a few days before it came out. But then when you watched it, it was just an hour and a half of Pikachu dancing, which was fun. And I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before, when they were first casting, they got sound clips of the actors they were interested in, and they animated to those sound clips from other movies, and they genuinely were interested in Danny DeVito, and so there is footage that exists of Detective Pikachu with Danny DeVito's voice, and they're hopefully going to release it when they release the home video version, home DVD or digital, I know modern things.
Yes.
And I'm very much looking forward to that, because whilst I think Ryan Reynolds did a very good job, I really, really like the idea of it being done. But the thing is, actually, in the context of the movie, it wouldn't have made sense anyway. They made the right choice.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyway, Detective Pikachu, good. Thank you for watching 8.5-Bit or listening to it. You can check our website, 8.5bit.com, our Twitter and Facebook. Please like and share anything like that. Subscribe to us on iTunes, and if you do, please leave us a review. Join us on our Discord. You can listen to the show live if you want, like these fine people watching it or listening to us right now.
Cal and Sam, hey guys.
Hey. Thought we had... anyway, they come and go. See you all soon.
See ya.
Bye.